Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to a special OAA Now for YouTube only here. This is the basketball district preview show here. I am Sammy Taramina, blogger around the OAA, the host of Last Week Brain Cells, and the host between Terminas and Orion Television. I'd like to welcome those. So this is on YouTube here. So we're going to break down the basketball districts. Of course, the MHSAA released the basketball districts on June 10th. So without further ado, we're going to break down both the boys basketball districts and the girls basketball districts. And we're going to break these districts down. We're going to go in more in specific detail about it, my early thoughts, and we'll go from there. So without further ado, let's start with the boys. I mean, obviously the boys start earlier this year, so they're the first ones to go. Then it's the girls. We'll break every district down, and we'll see what happens. We're going to start with our first district here. This is District 62. This will be at Goodrich High School. In this district, this is where Pontiac is in. This is going to be a district where Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, Goodrich, Brandon, Lake Fenton, and Linden are in this district. When I look at this one here, I mean, when I worked on this one, the projected NPR, Goodrich obviously has got a lot coming back. And you look at when you look at with them, they're loaded. Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, they did lose some talent, but excuse me, but this is still a very dangerous team. When you look at the Fighting Irish, I think Whitney Robinson, the coach here, has done a really nice job with that team, getting the best of them. Their JV was not very good last year, but their freshman was solid under Coach Gary Sharp. So Notre Dame Prep will be something to really watch for. I know Goodrich is got a legendary coach as well in Gary Barnes. So, and obviously, Goodrich is going to perform really, really well for him. And it's at home for them. So, so that'll be really interesting to see. Pontiac, we know, has got a new coach in Deion Harris, taking over that program. I think he's going to get Pontiac on the right track. But it's going to take some time for him to build that program. Lake Fenton, of course, won 14 games last year. So did Linden. So both those two teams, really, I think evenly matched. And then Brandon struggled last year. But I think Brandon, with them, they're well coached, and I think they're going to have a bounce back. So when I look at the players in the spot, I said JJ Claudio for sure, obviously. For his third coach in 3 years. So this is going to be really interesting to see how he responds. Dominic Molinari of Goodrich, I think, is the X factor of this district. He's really talented. Team, I think, is prone to get upset with Notre Dame Prep. Obviously, I mentioned they lost a lot of talent last year. I don't know how good this team's going to be. So, and I think, if there's a team that's asking to be upset, I think it's Pontiac Notre Dame Prep in this district. So it'll be really interesting to see how this one goes, but right now, if I had to pick a team early on, I would have to say Goodrich has the edge. It's really tight between Pontiac and Notre Dame Prep, but I just think that based on the strength of schedule, but I think right now Goodrich has the early edge in this district, so we'll see how that one goes there. District 60, district number 60 over at Harperwood Chandler Park Academy. We got Harperwood Chandler Park Academy, Detroit Edward Denby Tech, East Point, Detroit East English Village Prep, and St. Clair Shore South Lake are in this district. When I look at the favorite in this district, it's got to be Detroit Denby Tech. You really look at this team. Last year, this was a team that won 15 games for Coach Kevin Woodmore. East Point could be a factor. East Point had a really nice year for Coach Darius Wilson last year. South Lake won 13 games. So I think the Cavs are going to be a really serious threat here. Chandler Park, I got some concerns. There's some questions with them. Harper Woods, there's some big time questions for them. So when I look at this district here, Delvin Dixon's the X factor. I think for Harper Woods, we know how good that Dixon's more than capable of being that player for Detroit Denby. But Andre Cass for Harper Woods is the player on the spot because last year Harper Woods really struggled for Coach Tawan Porter. I mean, they really struggled. And for Harper Woods, they got to have a bounce back year in the gold. I mean, obviously, program strength is a big warning sign right now for Coach Porter. That's one of the reasons why I have them at 6 right now in the projected NPR. Little concerned with this team. Can Harper Woods find a way to turn around the gold? I mean, that's the big question we have. And I think that is going to be the big question is can they turn it around, especially come postseason time. When you look at Detroit, Denby, Tech, I mean, they're going to be the favorite for sure. Followed by St. Clair, Short Lake, and East Point. So Harper Woods is going to have a really difficult road here in this district. So we're going to see what happens there going forward. The next district here is District 58. This is at Detroit Old Redford. You got Ferndale University, Detroit Jalen Rose Academy, Detroit Lake King Academy, Detroit Old Redford, and Hazel Park. When I look at this district here, I noticed on X, and I read this one guy's tweet, and I said to myself, when it comes to these two teams should be playing later in the tournament. Usually the MHSAA is the one that books these districts. It's not me. I did my projections. If you want to take a look at my projections, they're also on the blog at secondbyblogspot.com. But you look at Detroit Old Redford, we know how good this team is. They are, of course, led by Drew Wilson. Of course, he played at Bloomfield Hills. He also played at West Bloomfield for a time. So he does know the OAA quite well. Ferndale, we know, is a very dangerous team. They got Eden Vineyard. Peyton Kemp comes over for Orchard Lake St. Mary's. They got other proven players on that team. Coach Juan Rickman's done a really nice job of that team. Ferndale University, we know they're well coached under Josh Nix. I don't know much about Detroit Lake King Academy or Detroit Jalen Rose Academy. Hazel Park, we know they got a very good star player in Jace Goff. Obviously, he's a sophomore. He's been getting a lot of looks. Of course, his dad is Cecil Goff. So when I look at this district, I think it's a two-team district between Ferndale and Detroit Old Redford. That should be the district final. But if there's a team that's screaming upset, Ferndale could be a team that's screaming upset because of, obviously you look at Detroit Old Redford, home court matters here. And I think for them, it's going to come down to is, obviously, if those two teams were to meet, that should be a fun battle, particularly in the interior. I'm curious to see who wins that battle in the interior. I think from a talent perspective, I think Ferndale's got more talent, but home court matters here, and Detroit Old Redford has that. So that should be a really fun district. It should be really, really fun to keep an eye on. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Detroit Old Redford is probably the most dangerous team in this district. So we'll see what happens. Now on to Division 1. This one's at Troy Athens. We have it's a different district this year. Berkeley's not in this district. Bloomfield Hills, Cranbrook, Kingswood comes into D1. And they're in a district with Troy Athens, Royal Oak, and Warren Mott. Troy Athens won the district last year. Royal Oak was in the district final. I think Royal Oak, to me, is a team that screams upset because of what happened last year. Now, what helps Coach Aaron Smith here is Troy is in is Royal Oak moved up from the gold to the blue, and I think that's a big that's important for Coach Smith because they're gonna see Troy and Troy Athens this year. They're gonna see them twice, so they're gonna know what those two teams have, and I think that was very strategic of Coach Aaron Smith for wanting to come up to the blue, just to see those two teams. Warren Mott, Bloomfield, Cranbrook, Kingswood, I think both those teams are going to really struggle in this district. I really think when I look at this district here, CJ Hairston, I think, is the best player in this one. Now, Athens might have a case, especially with Kane Hanbury. I don't know the status of Nathan Piggott. Will he play or not? Obviously, he committed to Eastern Michigan. So that is a big question mark right there. The fact that he can enroll early is a possibility. So and a team I think is the most dangerous is Troy because of well coached under Gary Frelick. They do have Blake Kuiper coming back. That's big. They did lose a lot. I mean, Mason Parker's no longer there. So they got some challenges. I think Troy to me is they're the most dangerous team here. They could get problems, but when I look at this district here, Athens, you would have to say is the early favorite because of what happened last year, winning a district championship. Program strength is there. Coach Mitchell Versino in his first year has done a really nice job with this program since taking over for Dave Scott, who's now at Lake Orion. You look at Athens, this team, they could have another good year. I mean, but Royal Oak's going to stand in the way. Maybe Troy. So we'll see how this one goes. So it'll be really interesting to see how this goes, and I think it'll be something to really, really watch for. So Margaret, the security lady at Troy Athens, is going to have her hands full in this district. She's going to have her hands full. That's for sure. Shout out to Margaret. District 28, this is at Utica Eisenhower. We got Adams. It's the same district as last year. Adams, Stony Creek, Rochester, Utica, Eisenhower, and Romeo. Last year, Rochester won this one on a dramatic buzzer beater. And you look at Rochester now, yes, they lost Max Mull. He transferred out to Avondale. But I think this is a scarier team without Mull. And I think that says a lot, especially with their JV program at Rochester, with the way that team was. They had a really good year last year. Rochester's JV is really good. I mean, don't get me wrong. They were good. And you put them together with this team, when you look at proven players like Logan Pleasant, Coach Nicobola's got a really nice team. Really does. Adams, obviously, with Cannon Flynn back. That's a big deal. I think Adams could be a player here. Stony Creek, I'm looking at their summer league success with Marco Tomic taking over. A lot of people ask me with Stony Creek as they needed a coach to take over that program and stabilize things, and it looks like Tomic has done a really nice job stabilizing things, and especially when you have a coach who knows his team inside out and stabilizes things, then this team could go on a roll. And I think Stony Creek, to me, is the most dangerous team here because of the kids' belief. Now, what helps is Stony Creek is they got a senior-heavy team as well. When you look at players like Quentin Yurga, you look at and they got a lot of proven talent on that team. I mean, so that is a scary, scary team. Stony Creek, they are honestly, I think they could be a team that gets the district final. Could they win the district? Absolutely they can. I mean, Adams has a chance too, but Adams to me has the most vulnerability to get upset, I think, because of, I really think with them, they could have some issues. I mean, we'll see. But Cannon Flynn is a really dynamic player, but for Coach Isaiah Novak. But I think Adams, they look vulnerable, prone to upset, and I think that's really where, I have with them. Eisenhower, they should be improved this year. They got home court for Coach Anthony Muscat. I really think with them, it's just they had that one bad year. They could bounce back. Do I think it should bounce back? I think the Eagles look better than people think. So we'll see what happens. Romeo's got some questions, I think, obviously. 2 district wins in 6 years. That's not a good sign for Coach Meyer Cushenberry. So Romeo right now, I got questions with them. A lot of questions. Utica should be better. I mean, Utica had a really rough year last year for Coach David Hinkle. So when I look at this district here, I would have to say Rochester's still the favorite. To be the best, you got to beat the best in Rochester right now. And you look at that division in the white, Rochester, Adams, and Stony Creek are all in the same division. And that division in the white this year is going to be a dogfight. When you look at those 3 teams, plus you have Oxford, Lake Orion, and Waterford Mott in there, that's going to be an absolute street fight when you look at that division. So that should be That's going to be like, that division, I think, is going to be battle hard. And people ask me, say, like, what division is going to be tougher, red or the white this year? I mean, like, the white's got a great case. They got a really, really strong case to be in one of the toughest divisions in the state this year. I think when you look at the white this year, I think, honestly, the white might be tougher than the red this year. And that says a lot, considering, the red's been the most dominant division the last few years. But I really think when you look at that white division, the balance of teams in there, it wouldn't surprise me that whoever has at least 4 or 5 losses in that division wins that thing, because that's how balanced that division is going to be this year. District 27 at Lake Orion, it's the same as last year. Lake Orion, Avondale, Clarkson, Kettering, and Mott. Looking at this district, obviously Avondale has to be the favorite because of who they got back. Noah Bonds, you got Jacoby Loris. The addition of Max Mull to already a loaded team for Coach Jared Thomas. Clarkson's look good at the summer league in the summer as well. But, you look at Clarkson, they looked good in summer league last year, and they really had a struggling year. So, that could be the same case here with Avondale. I mean, but Clarkson looks like they're going to be very interesting to watch this year for Coach Tim Wasilic. Lake Orion, has been a team that's been, last year they lost Zach Parks. I'm not sure if Ryan Lushill's coming back. I know he committed to Western Michigan recently. But I think Lake Orion could be a dangerous team if they shoot well, they perform well. They got pieces, that's for sure. I mean, Coach Jose Andrades has done a really nice job with this team. But, they're going through some kinks right now, some struggles right now. I know they're a very small group. Waterford Mott, under Coach Jeb Jason, obviously they got Greg White back. That's a big deal for them to go along with Dakari Stevens. Waterford Mott could be a really dangerous team here in this district. And Waterford Kettering, we know, has got a new coach in Rex Walters. They got a very good experienced team coming back. So when I look at this district, this could be a kiss of death district. I mean, like, whoever wins this district can have to earn it. I mean, like, and I really think, every team in this district's got weaknesses. They got flaws. I think whoever has interior play is going to win this district. But, you look at Jacoby Loris, he could be the X factor here. Nate Giacalone, I think, is the player to really watch for in this district. He's the key to where Lake Orion goes. Clarkson, to me, is prone to get upset because of what happened last year against Avondale. I mean, like, they really they lost 3 times to them, and Avondale's kind of had their number as of late. Lake Orion, to me, is the most dangerous, obviously, especially if they get hot. So, as I mentioned, the white's going to be tough this year. The red, we know, is going to be tough this year. So, Kettering and Kettering's going to be the favorite in the gold. So, so we'll see what happens in this one. But this district's going to be really, really difficult to really keep an eye on here over at Lake Orion. And that should be a really interesting district. District 26 at West Bloomfield. You got West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, Wall Lake Northern, Wall Lake Central, and Lakeland. Same as last year. You still got to look. Orchard Lake St. Mary's is a different team than they were last year. Obviously, when you lose a guy like Trey McKinney, that is a big loss. They lose others as well. So when I look at Orchard Lake St. Mary's, this is a loaded team. This is a very good team. I really think that the Eaglets, they could really surprise some folks. They could really, West Bloomfield, I still got concerns about them defensively. I just think defensively this team can be, they're a defensive liability. Offensively, they got players that can score points in bunches, of course, led by Curtis Britton. Wall Lake Central, much different team they've been in years past, but you got to return on Anthony Camacho to really keep an eye on. I think you can make some noise. Wall Lake Northern, obviously, we know the job that Ryan Negotian's done over there for them. Lakeland's a well-coached team as well. And I think Lake for Coach Rob Thompson, of course, Wall Lake Central for Coach Chuck Splonky. So when I look at this district here, I really don't see any changes. West Bloomfield looks prone to get upset. I think, Wall Lake Central's lost to West Bloomfield the last 2 years. So third time might be the charm, but it's in the swamp. It's in the blacktop. So that could be a real challenge for them. Orchard Lake St. Mary's still the favorite in this one, but could Coach Todd Colbert's team, could they take a step back this year? And that's a real possibility. They could. So we'll see how this one goes. District 25 at Oxford. You got Oxford, Davison, Grand Blanc, Flint, Kearsley, Holly, Lapeer. I've seen Grand Blanc play this year. Grand Blanc is very good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're the ultimate team to beat. Davison had a struggle early on, got hot late, knocked off Oxford. But lost to Davison. Oxford lost a lot of talent, but they do got they do got some proven talent in in Casper, and also Hasselbring and Brendan Elling all coming back. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where Coach Fed's team's at. Flint Kearsley, we know, is going to be solid. Holly could struggle this year. Lapeer could struggle this year. I mean, Holly should be better under their second-year coach, Thomas Chittle. Holly could struggle under Coach Steve DeHart again. But they could surprise some people. I mean, Oxford and Holly had some battles this year in the summer. So, either way, I just don't know if anyone can knock off Grand Blanc in this district. I just don't know. Davison might have the best chance, but I think they're prone to getting upset. I think Oxford give them problems if they play them. So, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Brendan Elling's got me on the spot for Oxford. Aiden Tipton's the X factor for Kearsley. Could he be a player against Grand Blanc? I don't know. We'll see what happens there. We're going to see what happens. But interesting district over at Ian Smith with those teams there. District 24, this is a district that's to be announced. So this would be very interesting. You got Grove, Seaholm, Bloomfield Hills, A&T, Berkeley, and Birmingham Brother Rice. A&T and Berkeley both got new coaches this year. Berkeley, of course, with James McCullough taking over. Berkeley with Coach Josh Lyle taking over. It should be interesting to see how this one goes. I think it'll be something to really keep an eye on. And I think it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. District 23 at Hamtramck. We got Oak Park, Hamtramck, UD Jesuit, Detroit Renaissance, Detroit Mumford, Warren Fitzgerald. It's going to be a brutal district for Oak Park. UD Jesuit's loaded. Renaissance is loaded. Warren Fitzgerald is loaded. Hamtramck is loaded. Detroit Mumford's loaded. And Oak Park is loaded. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. We're going to see what happens. But Oak Park's going to have it really tough over at Hamtramck. They're going to have it really, really tough. And then last but not least, District 22 over at Livonia Stevenson. We got Farmington, North Farmington, Livonia Churchill, Livonia Franklin, Livonia Stevenson, and Redford Thurston. This should be a really interesting district. Farmington won the district last year. They beat North Farmington district semifinals. Livonia Stevenson's probably the most dangerous team here because one, they got home court. Two, they got I think that this is a team that could really make some noise. I think that should be something to really keep an eye on. But Livonia Churchill's got the majority of the team back. Livonia Franklin should be improved. Redford Thurston obviously were seeded last year. But when I look at Farmington, they're loaded with proven talent. You look at North Farmington, they got a lot of talent coming back. Livonia Churchill. Livonia Stevenson, I think, is going to be probably the most dangerous team here in this district. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. We're going to see what happens. But you really got to keep an eye on it. Next, let's go from the girls to the boys. I think when you look at the girls' side, I think this is probably the most unique. And I think this is going to be really interesting to see how this district goes. When I look at this, Let's start off with District 60 over at let's go with District 61. This will be at Warren Regina. This is now the girls we're talking about now. Let's start off at Warren Regina. It's where Pontiac's in with Notre Dame Prep. Warren Regina, Bloomfield, Cranbrook, Kingswood, and Macomb Lutheran North. Now, Bloomfield, Cranbrook, Kingswood is in Division 2 for girls basketball. So that's really interesting because they're in D1 for boys basketball. They're in D2 now for girls basketball. So this is going to be really, really interesting to see how this one goes. Notre Dame Prep's got to be favored here. They have to be favored. Because they got a new coach in there, and a Matt Matuza takes over that program. Warren Regina, we know, is a proven program. They're loaded. Obviously, when you look at a player like Caitlin Sowers, they can make some noise. So we'll see what happens there. It'll be interesting to see how this approaches. So we'll see what happens there in that situation. Then, you kind of look at with Warren Regina, led, of course, by the returner Emerson Holder. To me, they're the most dangerous team. Cranbrook Kingswood should be better. They had a really rough year last year under Coach Michaela Ellis. Lutheran North was up and down. And, of course, we know with Pontiac last year having a bounce-back year under Coach Corey Latt. Pontiac should be better this year. They should be better. Could they make a move in EMPR? Absolutely they can. I think they got a chance to. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. But I think they can make some serious noise here. And I think they can be very, very good. So, that's something to keep an eye on with Pontiac. They're going to have it tough. I mean, right now, I'd say Notre Dame Prep and Regina are the two top teams in that district right now, early on. So we'll see how that one goes. District 60, this is over at, to be announced. This will most likely be at Birmingham Troy Country Day, because, I know how Birmingham Troy Country likes to host their districts. Ferndale, Ferndale University, Hazel Park, Troy Country Day, Mass Heights, Lampier, and Centerline. Ferndale, we know, is a mess. We know that situation's a mess. They have Ayanna Davis back, but they don't have a coach in place yet. And we don't know if they're going to field the team or not. I mean, we just don't know if they're going to field one. So that's a big concern there if you're Ferndale. Are you going to field the team? You went down 2 divisions from the red to the blue. So this will be interesting to see how this one goes. And I think this is going to be something to really keep an eye on with them. I think if Ferndale does get a team, they got to have the right coach in place. Ferndale U substantially improved under Benny Surkowski. I think this is something to really, really keep an eye on. I think it'll be something to really, really look at with them. So, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Lampier, they struggled last year. Hazel Park struggled last year. Centerline was really bad last year. Ferndale, if they get everything together, this is a very dangerous team. They're going to move up, definitely, for sure, if they can get some things addressed, keep everybody together. They do, it's a dangerous team. They don't, could be in for a long year. So, we'll see how that goes. District 59, this is at East Point. You got Harper Woods, East Point, Harper Woods, Chandler Park Academy, St. Clair Shores, South Lake, and Warren Lincoln. So, this case here, Harper Woods, right now, I have them. Harper Woods could be a player in this district. But I got to give the issue to South Lake. South Lake, they won 14 games last year. Harper Woods was around 500 last year. Lincoln struggled. Chandler Park was up and down. East Point won 11 games last year. East Point would be considered your dark horse. Team that's most prone to be upset is probably going to be South Lake. Harper Woods has a lot coming back. Should be really interesting. Real interesting scenario. So we'll see how that one goes. I really think, though, South Lake is going to be the favorite in this one. Even though it's at East Point. East Point could upset somebody. The Shamrocks, they're not bad. They're not bad. They're going to pose some problems. They will pose some problems. Now to Division 1. District 29 at Warren Mott. We got Troy Athens, Royal Oak, Warren Mott, Warren Cousino. Almost similar to the 2019 district. Almost similar. I remember that one. 2023, my bad. When Troy went and shocked Cousino. There's so much pressure on Troy this year. Has to be. Cousino is going to be the favorite. Because they got back. Royal Oak, we know the proven program. Troy Athens had a solid summer. Warren Mott was seeded last year, but they lost to Royal Oak. If there's one team that has so much pressure on them, this is it. Troy, to me, last year, they had a lot of expectations. A lot of them. You know, you kind of look at Diamond Prince. You had Reagan Zider. You had the emerging Macy Zider. Kelsey Block. You had Carly Higginbottom. Last year, they really underachieved. Now, the injury to Diamond Prince was huge for them. That was huge in that game against Athens. They had a big win against Utica Ford without Diamond Prince. That says something right there. That says something. And Macy Zider has really improved this summer. So when I look at Troy, you have Diamond Prince coming back off injury. You have Macy Zider. Kelsey Block's your solid defender. You have Carly Higginbottom in the interior. And you have a solid sophomore class. You should win this district. You should. But you got to deal with Cousino. You got Royal Oak in there. Royal Oak's got a lot of experience coming back. Athens, we know how good they are. So we'll see what happens there. District 28 at Utica Eisenhower. I mean, if you look at the expect in that district, though, back to the Warren Mott district, Katrina Tashich, I expect to have a big year for Troy Athens. I expect to have a big year. Macy Zider's on the spot. Troy's prone to be upset because if they lose in that district, there's going to be some questions. There will be some questions for Coach Roy Guzman. So we'll see what happens. If there's a team that's on the spot, it's Troy. And they're vulnerable to the upset. See what happens. Now District 28. Same district as last year, except Adam's not in here. If you're Stony Creek, you look at that game last year with Eisenhower, you basically got screwed. You basically got screwed when it came to time management. But you also did yourselves no favors either. You missed shots, you turned the ball over. In that game against Eisenhower took advantage. So you did yourselves no favors. When you look at Stony Creek this year, Avash sisters are back. You got Sam Fulkerson's really improved, but I got some concerns. And then you have Jalen Freeman. You have Jalen Freeman back. Ike's loaded. You have Natalia Silvetsky, along with the Turner twins, Mackenzie and Janelle Turner. And you got to give credit to Coach Madison Ravosky in her second year. It's her second year at the program at Ike, and she's done a really nice job. That JV program was very good. Their freshman program was up and down. They're a dangerous team. I don't think Stony Creek's forgotten that game, though, from last year. I just don't think they have. Only concern I have with Stony Creek this year is going to be their bench. Bench play is a big concern. Rochester's went through they're going to go through a transition. Obviously, you lose the twin. Obviously, you lose Alice Max and Kylie Robinson. You do got a good team. They got a good team around them. Of course, led by Taylor Parsons. To me, Rochester's the most dangerous of the group. They're the most dangerous of this district. Romeo and her coach Rama have Lanks done a really nice job. They should be improved. Utica should be improved. But if there's a team that has a lot of pressure in this district, it's Coach Columbus Williams' team. Because I'll tell you what, right now, if Stony Creek, they got, I think, one of the best starting fives in this division, in the league. They got one of the best starting fives. They just got to be more disciplined. I think that's the key for Coach Columbus Williams. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Because that's what cost you in your district last year. Your lack of discipline cost you. If you're Coach Columbus Williams and you see this district, you want another shot at Eisenhower. Question is, where do you want him? I know you want him in district final. Whoever's that number 2 seed is going to have a really tough time because I think Rochester is going to be that 3 seed. So we'll see how that one goes. District 27 at Lake Orion. We got Lake Orion, Clarkson, Adams, Avondale, Waterford. Same as last year. No, not same last year. Adams comes in here. Adams got a new coach, new scheme. New coach but a very familiar one in Justin Howard taking over. Clarkson, we know, you look at Waterford, they got a very good player in Savannah Satoris. But they're a young team. Really young team. Lake Orion, we know that Lake Orion's a very young team this year. Coach Bob Bridges has got that team. Coach Bob Bridges' teams usually get better as the season goes on. They usually do. Avondale, they lost a lot of talent last year for Coach Roy Chrisman. But Sasha McClellan's back. And we know how good she is. I think Clarkson's got the most pressure on them. To me, I look at Clarkson in a wrestling term. I look at him as the 2011 version of John Cena. And to me, that's not a good omen. You have Eliana Roback back. You have Brooklyn Cover coming back. You do have Ava Wasilic, who's an emerging talent. And you have Bella Flavin, who's an emerging talent. Your program strength's built for the future. But when I look at this team, who's going to get the bulk of the shots? Is it Roback? Is it Covert for Coach Goodnow? Program strength solid. But I think for more when it comes to Clarkson, I think they got to share the wealth more. I really do. And it's not just Roback or Covert. I mean, you got Flavin there. You got Wasilic there. You just really got to see who shares the wealth. And to me, that's why I put Clarkson prone to be an upset. Because at Clarkson's going to get the bulk of the shots. When you look at Lake Orion, obviously you lose with Izzy Walensky and Charlotte Poplowski. Those are 2 big losses for Bridges. Those are 2 big losses. But you got Lala Hill there. You got Kara Veter. Riley House when you get back from injury. Danny Heck, if she stays out of foul trouble. I mean, Lake Orion's got the piece to be good. They do. They just got to be more together, chemistry-wise. And that's why I said at the end of the year, you look at the shortcomings, Lake Orion, to me, if this team stays together, bonds together, they could surprise some people. But when I look at, and then Adams, they got a lot of experience come back. A lot of experience. But the question is, you look at Lake Orion and Clarkson's got tough schedules. Avondale has got a tough schedule. I mean, those 3 teams are playing in either the red or the white, respectively. Waterford's in the gold. Adams will be in the blue. So, We'll see how that one goes. Shall see. Clarkson's got to be the favorite right now. I still got concerns with them. I know they've gotten a lot of love from other sports writers. They got a lot of love. I'm not sold on them yet. Really not. I mean, they can be. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I just need to see more balance from this team. I just need to see more balance. Not just Rollback or Covert, but I need to see more of Flavin, more of Wasilic. More of them. Before I'm convinced with Clarkston. District 26 at Oxford, Davison, Grand Blanc, Holly, Lapeer. Grand Blanc's the favorite, but I just think Davison or Oxford give them fits. We know that Grand Blanc's a well-oiled machine. Davison's got some size. They got size and emerging freshman Nia Wilson to watch. Oxford, obviously, Caitlin Brockway and Mia Champagne are the two key players for Coach Trevor Marshall. Pierre was up and down. Holly really struggled last year. To me, I don't really see much changes in this district. I think Oxford's the 3, Davison's the 2, Grand Blanc's the top seed. Grand Blanc's favored. Play a tough schedule. But Davison looks prone to be upset. They have a bad shooting night, or if their bigs get into foul trouble. That's Davison's whole weakness, is foul trouble. That's really what their weakness is. So we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. Caitlin Brockway, obviously my player in the spot. Savannah Rice of Davison is my X factor. Davison most probably upset. Oxford the most dangerous team in that district. District 25 over at Lakeland, West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, Lakeland, Wall Lake Central, Wall Lake Northern. St. Mary's and West Bloomfield look like these two teams could go neck and neck. St. Mary's we know is loaded. They have a proven player now like Crichton. West Bloomfield we know is very good. Got Sharon Emile back. Went to Final Four last year. Lakeland, Wall Lake Northern almost similar. Wall Lake Central is probably the weakest of the 5 in this district. Lakeland, Wall Lake Northern probably most dangerous. I have Lakeland on the blog. West Bloomfield's my team prone to be upset because if Beal gets shut down, that could be a problem. We know how good Josh Pease is as a coach over at Wall Lake Northern. We know how good Lakeland is as a program. They're solid. So we'll see what happens. And Mike Wilhelm's a really good coach over at Lakeland. So we'll see what happens. But I would say right now, St. Mary's, I'd give the edge over at West Bloomfield right now. But I can't go against Darren McAllister. I really can't. So we'll see what happens. District 24 at Bloomfield Hills. We got Bloomfield Hills, Grove, Seaholm, North Farmington, Birmingham, Marion. I've seen Groves' YouTubes. Groves on X. I've seen Groves on X. And I've seen Coach Jessica Dubla's plays, you know what I mean? Like what she's teaching them. They got a chance to win a district for the first time since 2021. That's when Antoine Simpkins was coaching that team. There's some serious concerns here I have with Groves' interior play. Big concern. And if Shady Lawal gets that, and I know he's got a Twitter account, and Birmingham Marion's a very dangerous team. They're loaded. Seaholm lost a lot of talent last year. North Farms got a lot coming back. Bloomfield Hills lost a lot of talent. So right now when I look at this district, it's a 2-team district between Birmingham Marion and Birmingham Groves. That should be interesting. I mean, J.C. Roy Harlem Simpson's going to be the key for that district. Ella Swanson, to me, is the player on the spot for Birmingham Marion. She plays well. Look out. Marion won a district last year, and Marion was not very good last year. So this will be interesting to see how this one goes. District 23, this is to be announced. You got Berkeley, Oak Park, A&T, Detroit Renaissance, Detroit Mumford, Warren Fitzgerald. I go back to media day of last year when I talked to Coach Clay Shaver about styles. Detroit Renaissance has a style, has a quick run and gun pace that Coach Rashawn Wood likes. They got a lot of proven talent coming back. But I also remember Shane Law's last year at Detroit Renaissance when they got upset by Berkeley in the district final. Do I see a possibility here? Maybe. Do I think could it happen? Probably not. Detroit Renaissance is loaded. I know they get a lot of hype with sports writers. I know a lot of them who write with high school girls basketball. Detroit Mumford's got a really talented player. Renaissance, to me, looks good, but they look vulnerable. They look prone to get upset. Warren Fitzgerald's good. A&T lost a lot of talent. But, Coach Keita Coltrane, Oak Park struggled last year. So when I look at this team, I look at this district, it's a two-team district. Renaissance or Berkeley. Berkeley's got an emerging talent, and Nico Shoulders is going to be a freshman this year. 6'3". We'll see how that goes. The key is styles. If it's a fast-paced style, it's Detroit Renaissance. Slow pace, I would have to give Berkeley that advantage. These two teams could meet. They could. So we'll see how it goes. See how that goes. And then last but not least, the district over at Livonia Stevenson. Got Farmington, Livonia Franklin, Livonia Churchill, Livonia Stevenson, Redford, Thurston, Farm Hills, Mercy. This district here looks to be really interesting. Because Mercy and Livonia Stevenson went in the district final last year. Mercy ended up winning that. Livonia Franklin is really dangerous because they got everybody back despite struggling last year. Livonia Churchill, they got a lot back. Farmington should be better. Redford Thurston could struggle. Livonia Stevenson, to me, is the most dangerous team here. With reason. Ellie Gearings is the best player in this district. The way she's been playing for Prodigals Mercy. So this should be a really interesting district over at Livonia Stevenson. Could it be a rematch part 2? Maybe. Could happen. We'll see what happens. Everybody, I'm signing off here. Make sure you follow on YouTube. With the basketball districts, I will have these on the blog for sure. We'll see what happens. Take care. God bless. And I will see you all soon. God bless you.